last 8 years, it is this. Reliability gets mistaken for weakness, dependability gets rebranded as duty, and silence gets interpreted as permission to take more. I became the family wallet by accident. It started small. Dad called one winter saying the furnace died, and they needed $1,500 to fix it before Mom caught pneumonia. I wired it that afternoon. 3 weeks later, Mom called. The car insurance lapsed. Could I cover it? Just this once? I did. Then it was the mortgage, then utilities, then the property tax bill they forgot about until the county sent a final notice. Within 6 months, I was covering $6,200 a month. Mortgage, car payments for both their vehicles, home insurance, health insurance top-ups, utilities, their phone plan, the lawn service, and the quarterly pest control. They never asked if I could afford it. They assumed, and I never corrected them. My sister Vanessa was 29. She worked part-time as a social media consultant, which meant she posted pictures of her coffee and called it branding. She lived in a condo Dad co-signed for, but I secretly knew the down payment came from a loan against the house I was paying the mortgage on. She drove a leased SUV. She wore designer boots. She went to wine tastings every weekend and posted about living her best life. I worked in commercial logistics, 60-hour weeks. I lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment with furniture from a clearance warehouse. I drove a 9-year-old sedan with a dent in the bumper I never bothered fixing. Every spare dollar I earned went into an automatic transfer labeled family support. Mom and Dad never thanked me directly. It was always phrased as inevitability. Your father needs new tires. Your mother's dental work is not covered. The HOA is raising fees. It was never a request. It was a report. And I was expected to handle it like I always did. Quietly, obediently, invisibly. Vanessa, meanwhile, got celebrated for everything. She posted a photo of herself holding a latte, and Mom commented with 3 heart emojis and, "So proud of you, sweetheart." I wired $3,000 to cover their HVAC repair, and Dad sent a 1-line text. "Got it, thanks." I told myself it did not bother me. I told myself family was supposed to help each other. I told myself that one day they would notice. One day they would say something. One day the balance would tip back toward fairness. But fairness is not something people give you. It is something you take. I had been keeping records since month 1. A spreadsheet. Every payment dated and categorized. Mortgage, insurance, utilities, car notes, emergency fixes, holiday expenses, medical copays. I updated it religiously. At first, I did it for my own clarity. Then I did it because something in my gut told me I would need proof someday. By year 8, the total sat at $595,000. More than $500,000. I had funded their entire lifestyle while living like a grad student stretching loans. Dad worked part-time at a hardware consulting gig that barely covered his golf membership. Mom had not worked in a decade. Vanessa floated between freelance gigs that paid just enough to cover her brunches, and I was the foundation, the silent, dependable, never acknowledged foundation. They built their lives on my bank account. And the worst part was not the money. It was the invisibility. It was the way Vanessa got praise for existing while I got demands for existing. It was the way my sacrifices were dismissed as obligations while her mediocrity was celebrated as achievement. Growing up, I learned early that my role was different. When I was 16, I saved up $2,000 from my warehouse job to buy a used laptop for college applications. 2 weeks before I planned to purchase it, Dad pulled me aside. My cousin needed help with his tuition deposit, $500. Could I pitch in? I did. Then Mom asked if I could cover the rest. I emptied my savings account. I applied to college on library computers. Nobody ever asked if I got the laptop. My cousin never said thank you. That became the pattern. Every milestone I worked toward got redirected. But I kept quiet. I kept paying. I kept playing my role. Until the night everything broke. The holiday dinner was my idea. Or rather, my expense. I paid for the catering, the wine, the floral centerpiece Mom insisted on, and the imported cheese board Vanessa saw on Instagram and decided was essential. The bill came to $1,800. I transferred it without comment. I arrived at 6. The house smelled like rosemary and roasted garlic. The table looked like a magazine spread. Candles flickered in crystal holders I had bought them 3 Christmases ago. Vanessa was already there, wearing a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She barely looked up from her phone when I walked in. "Oh, hey, Derek," she said absently, fingers still scrolling. Mom came out of the kitchen holding a wooden spoon. "Derek, sweetheart, can you grab the folding chairs from the garage? We are seating 8 tonight." I did. Dad was in the living room watching a basketball game on the 70-inch TV I had purchased for them last Christmas after their old one died. He glanced over. "Derek, good. Listen, we need to talk tomorrow about the insurance renewals. Quotes came back higher this year, probably another $200 a month." No greeting, no. "How are you?" Just logistics, just another bill he expected me to absorb without question. I set up the chairs. I helped Mom carry platters. I poured water into glasses. I did what I always did. I made myself useful. I stayed quiet. Dinner started at 7. The food was excellent. The conversation was light. Vanessa talked about her latest client project, which sounded like helping a local boutique pick Instagram filters. Mom praised her creativity. Dad nodded approvingly. I sat quietly, cutting my turkey, chewing slowly, saying nothing. Halfway through the meal, I tried to contribute. I mentioned a logistics contract my company had just won. A big deal. 6-figure value. Dad glanced at me. "That is nice, Derek." Then he turned back to Vanessa. "So when does your client launch the new campaign?" I stopped trying. Then near the end of the meal, Dad stood up. He tapped his wine glass with a knife. The room went quiet. He smiled, the kind of broad, warm smile I rarely saw directed at me. "I want to make a toast," he said, his voice filling the room. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was it. Maybe he was going to acknowledge the 8 years. Maybe he was going to say something about how I had kept this family afloat. But he turned to Vanessa. "Vanessa," he said, lifting his glass higher. "Congratulations. Your European cruise suite is officially paid in full. 2 weeks, 5-star accommodations, Barcelona, Rome, Athens, all inclusive. You have worked so hard this year, and you deserve every bit of this. We are so proud of you." The table erupted in applause. Mom beamed, tears in her eyes. Vanessa blushed, playing modest, waving her hand like it was too much. But she was glowing. I sat frozen. My fork hovered halfway to my mouth. A cruise suite, paid in full. I did not even know they were planning that. $15,000, maybe more. Then Dad turned to me. His smile thinned. His tone shifted. Not warm anymore. Transactional, clinical, cold. "Derek," he said flatly, "insurance drafts tomorrow. I need $3,100 by 9 a.m. Sharp. Do not be late. The policy lapses at noon." The applause faded. Everyone went back to eating, like it was normal, like nothing had just happened. I set my fork down carefully. My voice came out quieter than I intended. "Why do I pay while she gets rewards?" The table went still. Fork stopped midair. Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at me like I had just asked why the sky was blue. "Excuse me?" he said. I repeated it, slower this time. "Why do I constantly pay for everything while Vanessa gets expensive rewards?" Dad exhaled, the kind of exhale you give a child who does not understand something obvious. He leaned back in his chair. He folded his arms, and then he said it. "Because she is who we are building around, Derek. She has potential. She has a future we want to invest in. She is going places. You," he paused, looking me up and down. "You are stable, reliable. You do not need the help. Vanessa does. That is just how it is." Mom nodded. Vanessa stared at her plate, saying nothing. Not disagreeing, not defending me. Just silent. I felt something crack inside my chest. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. They were not going to change. They were never going to see me. I was not their son. I was their budget line, their automatic deposit, their solution to problems they did not want to solve themselves. I stood up. I did not raise my voice. I did not argue. I just pushed my chair back, grabbed my coat from the hook by the door, and walked out. Behind me, I heard Mom say, "Derek, do not be dramatic. Come back and finish your dinner." I did not turn around. I sat in my car in their driveway for 10 minutes, hands on the wheel, engine off, breath fogging the windshield, staring at nothing. She is who we are building around. The words played on a loop. I had heard dismissive things before. I had been ignored, overlooked, taken for granted. But this was different. This was explicit. This was them saying out loud what I had always feared they believed. I was not worth investing in. I was the tool. Vanessa was the project. I drove home in silence. No music, no radio, just the hum of tires on asphalt and the sound of my own breathing. When I got to my apartment, I did not turn on the lights. I sat on the edge of my bed in the dark, still wearing my jacket, still holding my keys. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "You embarrassed your father tonight. This is not like you. Call him and apologize." I stared at it. I did not reply. Another buzz. Dad this time. "Do not forget, 9 a.m., $3,100. I mean it. I set the phone face down on the nightstand. I thought about the last 8 years, the missed vacations because I could not afford them after covering their bills, the delayed car replacement, the furniture I never upgraded, the retirement account I barely contributed to because they always needed something more urgent. I thought about Vanessa's cruise. 2 weeks, 5-star suite, all-inclusive, probably cost $15,000, maybe more, and I was expected to wire $3,100 tomorrow morning without question. I thought about all the times I told myself it would balance out, that one day they would recognize what I had done, that one day I would matter to them the way Vanessa mattered. But I did not matter. I never had. I was an expense account with a heartbeat. I lay back on the bed staring at the ceiling. Shadows from the streetlight outside cut across the room in sharp angles. I did not cry. I did not rage. I just felt empty, hollow. At some point, I fell asleep. When I woke up at 3 in the morning, my phone screen was glowing. Another text. Dad again. Reminder, 9 a.m. Do not make me call you. I picked up the phone. I opened my banking app. I stared at the transfer screen I had used hundreds of times, the one labeled Family Support, and then I did something I had never done before. I closed the app without transferring anything. I set the phone down. I went back to sleep. I woke up at 6. I made coffee. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open and my phone beside me. The morning light came through the window pale and cold. I pulled up my spreadsheet, the one I had been keeping for 8 years, $595,000. I scrolled through the entries, mortgage payments, insurance premiums, car notes, utility bills, emergency repairs, holiday expenses, medical copays, lawn service, pest control, HOA fees, property taxes, every single one documented, dates, amounts, confirmation numbers. I opened a second tab, my bank account dashboard. I pulled up the joint account Dad had insisted I open 3 years ago for easier transfers, the one they had access to, the one they treated like a shared wallet. Current balance, $11,400. I opened a third tab. My list of automatic payments, 17 in total, all tied to their household, all scheduled to draft within the next 2 weeks. I looked at the clock. 8:45. My phone rang. Dad. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. I declined it. A text appeared. Where is the transfer? I did not respond. At 9:15, another call. Mom this time. I ignored it. A text from Vanessa. Dad says you are ignoring him. What is going on? This is not like you. I stared at her message. The same Vanessa who said nothing last night when Dad called her their investment and me their utility. The same Vanessa who accepted a $15,000 cruise without once asking who was paying the bills while she floated through part-time gigs. I opened my banking app. I went into account settings. I found the joint account. I clicked close account. It asked for confirmation. Are you sure? Yes. Final confirmation? Yes. Transfer complete. Remaining balance moved to my primary account. Joint account closed, effective immediately. The screen refreshed. The account disappeared from my dashboard like it had never existed. Next, I opened my automatic payment dashboard. One by one, I canceled every scheduled transfer. Mortgage, car insurance, health insurance, utilities, phone plan, lawn service, pest control, every single one. Each cancellation sent a confirmation email. I saved every one. I created a folder. I labeled it evidence. Then I opened my cloud storage. I uploaded my spreadsheet. 8 years of payments, $595,000. Every entry highlighted and categorized. I added the cancellation confirmations as attachments. I renamed the file Family Support Summary Final. I sat back. My coffee had gone cold. My hands were steady. I felt calm, calmer than I had felt in years. My phone buzzed. Dad calling again. I sent it to voicemail, another text. Derek, call me now. This is not a joke. I did not. They showed up at my apartment at noon. I heard the pounding on my door before I saw them. Loud, aggressive, desperate. I opened it. Dad stood there, red-faced, veins bulging in his neck. Mom behind him, arms crossed, mouth set in a tight line. Vanessa lingering by the car in the parking lot, phone in hand. What the hell do you think you were doing? Dad barked. I stepped aside. Come in. They stormed past me. Dad went straight to the living room. Mom followed. Vanessa stayed in the doorway, uncertain. Dad spun around. The insurance bounced. The mortgage payment failed. I just got off the phone with the bank, and they said the joint account is closed. Closed. Do you have any idea what you have done? I sat down on my couch. I folded my hands in my lap. I looked at him calmly. I stopped paying. His face turned a deeper shade of red. You stopped paying? You cannot just stop paying. We have bills. We have commitments. You cannot just walk away from your family. I did. Mom stepped forward. Her voice was softer, pleading. Derek, sweetheart, this is not like you. You are upset about last night. We understand. But this is too far. You are hurting the whole family. I looked at her. The whole family. Interesting. Because last night, Dad made it very clear I am not part of the family you are building around. I am just the one funding it. Dad scoffed. Do not twist my words. I said Vanessa has potential we want to invest in. That does not mean we do not value you. You do not value me, I said flatly. You value my bank account. There is a difference. Vanessa finally spoke from the doorway, her voice small. Derek, come on. Do not do this. We can talk about it. I turned to her. When was the last time you asked how I was doing, Vanessa? When was the last time you wondered how I afforded to cover $6,000 a month while working 60-hour weeks? When was the last time you said thank you? She went quiet. I stood up. I walked to my desk. I picked up a printed copy of my spreadsheet. 8 years of payments, $595,000. Every line highlighted, every category color-coded. I handed it to Dad. 8 years, I said. $595,000. Every payment documented, every transfer recorded. You want to talk about commitments? I committed for 8 years, and you repaid me by calling me stable and reliable while you handed Vanessa a cruise suite. Dad stared at the spreadsheet. His jaw tightened. His hands shook slightly as he flipped through the pages. This is what you are mad about? Money? You make good money, Derek. You can afford it. I laughed. It came out bitter. I can afford it. That is your justification. I can afford it, so I should. Not because you appreciate it, not because you need it, just because I can. Mom reached for my arm. Derek, please, we can fix this. Just turn the payments back on, and we will sit down and talk. I pulled my arm away. No. No, Dad repeated. No, I said again. I am done. I am done being invisible. I am done being the emergency fund. I am done funding a life I am not even part of. Dad stepped closer, his voice dropping to a threat. If you do not turn those payments back on, there will be consequences. The mortgage will default. The insurance will lapse. You are going to destroy everything we have built. I met his eyes. Then I guess you should have thought about that before you told me I was not worth investing in. I walked to the door. I opened it. Get out. They stood there stunned. Get out. They left. Vanessa first, then Mom. Dad lingered at the threshold, staring at me like I was a stranger. You are making a mistake, he said quietly. No, I said. I already made the mistake. 8 years ago. I am just fixing it now. I closed the door. I locked it. I leaned against it, listening to their footsteps fade down the hallway. And for the first time in 8 years, I smiled. After they left, I sat back down at my desk. My hands were shaking now, not from fear, from adrenaline, from relief, from the sheer weight of finally saying no. I opened my laptop. I pulled up my email. I had been in contact with a financial advisor 6 months ago, back when I first started questioning whether I could sustain this level of support long term. Her name was Rachel. She specialized in family financial boundaries and estate planning. I found her last email. I hit reply. Rachel, I need to schedule a call as soon as possible. The situation we discussed has reached a breaking point. I have closed the joint account and canceled all automatic payments. I need to ensure I am protected legally and financially. Can we talk today? I hit send. While I waited, I pulled up my banking portal again. I reviewed every account I had access to. Personal checking, personal savings, the now closed joint account, my retirement fund, my emergency fund, which I had been draining steadily to cover their shortfalls. I calculated my actual financial position without their burden. My salary was $78,000 a year. My rent was $1,200. Utilities, $150. Car payment, $320. Groceries, $400. Basic insurance, $200. Gas, $120. Total monthly expenses, $23.90. I had been living on 30% of my income. The other 70% went to them. If I stopped paying them, I could rebuild my emergency fund in 4 months. I could max out my retirement contributions. I could take a vacation. I could buy furniture that was not secondhand. I could live. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Available now. Call me. I called. She answered on the first ring. Derek, tell me what happened. I told her everything. The dinner, the toast, the demand, the breaking point, the closures, the confrontation, the spreadsheet. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Good. I blinked. Good? Good, she repeated. You did the right thing. Now we need to make sure it sticks. First, confirm every cancellation. Pull confirmation emails for everything. Second, monitor your credit report. If they have your information, they might try to open accounts in your name out of desperation. Third, document everything they say from here on out. Every text, every voicemail, every email. If they threaten you, we need proof. I was already taking notes. She continued. Fourth, do not re-engage financially. No small transfers. No one-time help. Nothing. The second you give an inch, they will take a mile. You have been subsidizing their lifestyle for 8 years. They will panic. They will guilt you. They will threaten you. Do not break. I will not, I said. And Derek, she added, her tone softening, you did nothing wrong. You are not responsible for their choices. You were never responsible. You were just convenient. I hung up. I pulled up my email inbox. I searched for every confirmation email from the last 24 hours. Cancellations, account closure, payment reversals. I saved them all into the folder labeled evidence. Then I pulled up my phone. I scrolled through my messages. Dad had sent 12 texts since leaving my apartment. Each one more furious than the last. You are going to regret this. The bank called. The mortgage is past due. Mom is crying. Is this what you want? You are tearing this family apart. Call me now. I did not reply to any of them. Vanessa sent one message. I do not understand why you are doing this. I almost replied, almost explained. But then I realized she knew. She had always known. She just did not care because it did not affect her. I put my phone down. I opened a new document. I titled it Financial Independence Plan. I listed everything I wanted to do with the money I was no longer giving them. Rebuild savings to $15,000. Increase retirement contributions to max. Pay off car loan early. Replace furniture. Take a vacation. Maybe even start looking at buying a small house. For the first time in 8 years, I was planning for my future. Not theirs. Mine. My phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Dad. I played it on speaker. His voice was tight, controlled, threatening. Derek, I do not know what you think you are proving, but this ends now. You turn those payments back on by tomorrow morning, or I will make sure everyone in this family knows what kind of son you really are. Selfish, ungrateful, a disappointment. I saved the voicemail. I added it to my evidence folder. Then I blocked his number. I blocked Mom's. I blocked Vanessa's. I sat in the silence of my apartment. No demands, no guilt, no expectations. Just quiet. A week passed. I did not hear from them directly, but I heard about them. A mutual family friend, Angela, reached out. She was Mom's college roommate. She called me out of the blue. Derek, your mom called me. She says you cut them off financially. She says they are facing foreclosure. Is that true? I paused. It is true that I stopped paying their bills. It is not true that I cut them off. I was never obligated to pay in the first place. Angela sighed. Derek, I know your family can be difficult, but this seems extreme. Maybe you could help them just a little. I felt my jaw tighten. Angela, in the last 8 years, I have given them $595,000. I have gotten zero acknowledgement, zero appreciation, and zero respect. At a dinner I paid for, my father toasted my sister's $15,000 cruise and then demanded I send him $3,100 the next morning. When I asked why I pay while she gets rewards, he told me she is who they are building around. I am done helping people who see me as an ATM. She went quiet. $595,000? Documented every single payment. Derek, I had no idea. Nobody did because I never said anything. I just kept paying, but I am not paying anymore. She hung up shortly after. I knew she would tell others. Good. Let them know. 2 days later, I got an email. From Vanessa, not a text. An email. Formal. Distant. Derek, I do not know what is going on with you, but you are hurting people who love you. Dad had to take out a loan to cover the mortgage. Mom is borrowing money from Aunt Linda. I had to cancel my cruise because they needed help. You are being selfish. Family is supposed to help each other. Please reconsider. I read it twice. Then I hit reply. I attached my spreadsheet. The one showing 8 years of payments. $595,000. Every line item. Every confirmation number. I wrote one sentence. Family is supposed to help each other. I agree. I helped for 8 years. Now it is your turn. I hit send. 3 hours later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Derek. It was Vanessa. Her voice was tight, shaky. I just opened your email. And? I did not know it was this much. You did not ask. Derek, this is not fair. You are making me look bad. People are talking. Angela told Aunt Linda. Aunt Linda told Uncle Mark. Now everyone thinks we used you. You did use me. We did not. We thought you were okay with it. You thought I was okay with funding your entire lifestyle while being told I was not worth investing in? She went quiet, then quieter still. I am sorry. I almost laughed. You are sorry because people found out, not because it happened. That is not fair. Vanessa, I do not care anymore. I am done. Tell Dad the mortgage is his problem. Tell Mom the insurance is hers. And tell yourself that the cruise you had to cancel, I paid for $1,800 worth of catering so you could sit at that dinner and hear Dad praise you. You are welcome. I hung up. The next day I got a certified letter from a law office. I opened it carefully. It was a demand letter from Dad through a lawyer, claiming I had verbally agreed to provide financial support indefinitely, claiming my sudden withdrawal constituted financial elder abuse, demanding I resume payments immediately. I read it twice. Then I laughed. Actually laughed. I forwarded it to Rachel. She called me 10 minutes later. Derek, this is nonsense. They have no case. Verbal agreements for ongoing financial support are not legally enforceable, especially when you have documented evidence that you were paying voluntarily. And financial elder abuse requires proof of dependency and exploitation. They exploited you, not the other way around. What do I do? Nothing. Let me handle it. I will draft a response citing your documentation. the fact that they have multiple income sources, and the fact that you were never legally obligated. If they want to push this, we can counter-sue for emotional distress and harassment. Do it. She paused. You are sure? I am sure. She hung up. I sat back. I felt lighter than I had in years. 2 weeks later, I got another email from Dad's lawyer, a single line. Notice of withdrawal, demand letter rescinded, no further action will be taken. No explanation, no apology, just a retreat. I knew why. Rachel had sent them my spreadsheet, $595,000, 8 years of payments, documented proof that I had been subsidizing their entire lifestyle while they called me stable and reliable. They had no case, and they knew it. I forwarded the email to Rachel with one word, thanks. She replied, you are free? I closed my laptop. It was over. 3 months later, I moved. Not far, just to a better building. 2 bedrooms, a balcony, hardwood floors, a dishwasher that actually worked, furniture I picked out myself, a couch that was not beige clearance fabric, a bed frame that did not creak, a dining table, bookshelves I assembled while listening to music. I could afford it now, easily, without their bills draining my account. Every month I had more money than I knew what to do with. I maxed out my retirement contributions for the first time. I built my emergency fund back up to 6 months of expenses. I bought a new car. Nothing fancy, just reliable. And mine. I heard through Angela that Dad finally sold the house, downsized to a condo. Vanessa moved in with them to split costs. Mom got a part-time job at a bookstore. Dad picked up weekend shifts at a hardware store. They were fine. They were figuring it out, just like I had been doing for 8 years while carrying them. Angela asked me once if I felt guilty. I told her the truth. I did not. I felt free. One evening, I was sitting on my balcony watching the sunset when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Derek, this is Vanessa. I know you blocked me. I am using a friend's phone. I just wanted to say I am sorry, really sorry. I did not understand what you were doing for us. I did not understand what it cost you. Not just the money, everything. Your time, your peace, your future. I do not expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I see it now. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I appreciate that. I hope you are doing okay. She replied immediately. I am, we all are. It has been hard, but we are managing. I got a full-time job, real job, marketing coordinator at an agency, 40 hours a week, benefits. It is strange, but good. I feel like I am finally growing up. I smiled faintly. Good, I am glad. Do you think we could ever talk again? Maybe coffee sometime? Not to ask for anything, just to talk. I thought about it. I thought about the 8 years, the $595,000, the toast at the dinner table, the she is who we are building around line, the canceled cruise, the lawyer letter, and then I thought about my balcony, my new couch, my full savings account, my peace. Maybe someday, I typed, but not yet. I need more time. She did not reply immediately. Then, finally, I understand. Take all the time you need. I will be here when you are ready, if you are ever ready. I put my phone down. I leaned back in my chair. The sky was orange and pink. The air was cool. The city hummed below. I thought about the version of myself who used to sit in that old apartment, staring at transfer screens, convincing myself that family was supposed to sacrifice, that love meant giving until there was nothing left. I did not believe that anymore. Love was not supposed to be one-sided. Family was not supposed to be a debt you carried alone, and respect was not something you earned by being useful. It was something you demanded by knowing your worth. I had spent 8 years being the dependable one, the stable one, the one who always came through, and it almost destroyed me. But I was not that person anymore. I was not invisible. I was not an ATM. I was not a backup plan. I was Derek, 34 years old, independent, empowered, free, and I was building a life around myself. Finally.